Thank you to Pastor Ann, to Larry and Nick for receiving me so warmly today here at Northaven Church. I was invited to share a bit of my journey as someone who reconciles being both a church musician and a trans individual. I was born and raised in Rio de Janeiro in a devout Catholic family. I began playing piano as a child, and by my teenage years, I was attending Mass multiple times a week. I longed for a daily spiritual rhythm, and offering music became a natural extension of that desire. In my senior year of high school, I asked if I could play for one of the churches near my home. They had an organ, but no organist. So without any formal organ training at the time, just the enthusiasm of a young pianist, I began playing for Sunday liturgies, and I fell in love with it, with the power of music to lift a congregation's prayers. At the same time, another part of my life was quietly unfolding. Since my early childhood in the 90s, I had struggled with feelings that I didn't know the name. But today I know it's called gender dysphoria. I prayed every day for God to take away the anguish, or at least give me clarity. I searched the Catholic teachings and documents for guidance. There was nothing. So I confessed to priests what I thought might be a sin, and I was told, pray harder, repent. They didn't know. But the prayer doesn't make dysphoria go away, because it's not a temptation, it's a medical reality. So as a teenager, unsure of what my future would look like, both in this life and the next, I tried to make myself useful to God. I offered my time, devotion, and music as if my service might compensate for something I feared made me unacceptable. But over the years, something beautiful happened. Instead of offering music to earn God's love, I began to offer it because I genuinely feel God's presence in it. As organist Paul Mons once said, it is the church musician's task to unleash the voice of praise by the graciousness of God is inside all of us. Eventually, I learned about the possibility of transition from a medical school textbook on anatomy. And after many years of stops and starts on my attempts at a medical transition since I was a teenager, I finally was able to begin it in earnest 13 years ago, shortly after I moved to the United States to pursue graduate studies in organ and sacred music. Yet, even then, I remained closeted for many years because I worked for the Catholic Church, and openly trans employees are not permitted by policy. It results in automatic termination of employment. I lived with the fear of losing not only my job, but the vocation. But one day, I was outed. In an unexpected meeting with the priest and HR, they made clear that my position was no longer secure. I resigned 2 days later. But even before that, my heart had already been drifting away from a theology in which God's love and mercy seemed conditional, dependent on my ability to hide my suffering without seeking relief and to deny my identity. On the day I resigned, I received a job offer at Lake of the Isles Lutheran Church. And to this day, I think it is divine providence. I found a home in the Evangelical Lutheran Church, a denomination which is in full communion with the United Methodist Church, where my gifts are welcomed rather than scrutinized, where being transgender is not a disqualifier, but simply part of human diversity. So this, what I have found in communities like yours, this is the Christianity which I recognize in the Gospels. The Christianity that opens its arms to the marginalized, welcomes the stranger, and lifts up those who are pushed to the edges. It follows the teachings of Christ. Come you who are blessed by God. Inherit the place prepared for you from the foundation of the world. I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. A stranger, you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison, you visited me. And when I was marginalized, whether transgender, immigrant, a refugee, or anyone pushed to the edges of society, you saw me, you welcomed me, and you affirmed my dignity. So, as a church musician who just happens to be trans, and finally able to live truthfully and offer my gifts freely, I rejoice in the grace that has brought me here. Thanks be to God.